Hello, and welcome back to History Talk. Today we're going to be talking about the main points of the Sunningdale Agreement included on the 9th of December 1973. So, let's head in. Right about now. Hello, and welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about the main points. There's the point of the Council of Ireland, that there will be a two-tier Council of Ireland. The first tier, Council of Ministers, made up of Irish government ministers and ministers from the Northern Ireland Executive. The second tier, the Consultative Assembly, would be made up of 30 members of the Irish Parliament and 30 members of the Northern Irish Assembly. The powers of the council were not clearly defined, however. Reference was made to harmonisation between North and South on issues of mutual interest, such as membership of the European Economic Community. However, the powers of the council to make policy related to issues of mutual interest was not outlined in great detail, which was a very, very, very deadly mistake. The status of Northern Ireland. The Irish government could not meet the Unionist demand for reforming Articles 2 and 3 from the Irish Constitution. This could only be done by a referendum, and the Irish delegates thought that such a proposal would probably be rejected by Irish voters. Which, probably would have, but, maybe shouldn't be. However, the Irish government included a statement in the agreement which declared that it fully accepts and solemnly declares that there would be no change in the status of Northern Ireland until the majority of the people desired to change in that status. Law and order. It was agreed that there would be a greater cooperation between the police forces of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland on security issues. However, one thing that they wanted them to do was to send, if, let's say, an IRA person, they're known by the Irish, they're known by the Northern Irish Police Force to be, person who's, they want to bring them in for questioning, and the Irish government discovered that they are in their country, The Northern Irish say that they should have them, sent back to Northern Ireland to be dealt with. However, of course, when you have a history of a policy of internment, that's not really going to cut ice, is it? You don't want to be sending people who are just suspects to face that when you don't even know about the ability of your police force, ability of another police force to deal with that sort of thing. Now we come to the Sunningdale Agreement's strengths and their weaknesses. So, the Sunningdale Agreement Conference is brought together with different groups that held often strongly opposing views. And they succeeded in achieving a consensus. For the first time, the Irish government played a significant role in negotiating an agreement relating to Northern Ireland. The powers of the Council of Ireland were not clearly defined, however. This gave hope to the National SDLP that the Council could, over time, lead to close cooperation between the North and South on mutual interests. However, uncertainty over the powers of the Council of Ireland also led to growing fears among Unionists. The Council of Ireland would be the way in which they would eventually be forced into accepting United Ireland, which probably would have been false, but fear is fear, I guess. However, those involved in the Sunningdale Agreement didn't actually realise this. Oftentimes they underestimated the strength of Unionist opposition towards the Council of Ireland, and this became very evident in the early months of 1974. Now, the main thing that happens around this time with the Sunningdale Agreement is that the response to it, you see, at first the Sunningdale Agreement is seen as a breakthrough in resolving conflict in Northern Ireland. The Assembly and the Executive are set up and they're running by January 1974. However, it becomes very quickly apparent that a growing number of Unionists are very strongly opposed to the aspects of this agreement. Some of the aspects are the Council of Ireland, power sharing, and obviously these the main ones. So this becomes a problem, and this becomes very clear following the general election results in February 1974, when a majority of unionists supported anti-Sunningdale candidates. The UWC strike is another thing that affects it. So, what exactly were the political, what was the political response to the agreement? So, you have yourself some rallies. So, the Steve Ulster rally. So, while the conference at Sunningdale was still going on, a rally was held in Ulster Hall on the 6th of December 1973. It was attended by unionists opposed to power sharing. At the rally, the DUP leader Ian Paisley, the leader of the Vanguard movement, William Craig, and some of the other members of the Orange Order decided to come together to found the United Ulster Unionist Council to work together to oppose the Sunningdale Agreement. Nationalists respond fairly well to the agreement. The Assembly and Executive would give nationalists a say in governing Northern Ireland for the first time, and the Council of Ireland seemed like a progressive and positive development in strengthening links with the South. However, here comes a strange opposition, and this is Sinn Féin. Sinn Féin object to the Council of Ireland, as they believe that by recognising the two governments of the Ireland, the Council of Ireland would essentially reinforce partition. Now, what's weird about this is that the unionists are thinking, well, this will lead to unification between North and South. But in a way, Sinn Féin are right. Because currently, Ireland, the politicians in Ireland are essentially saying, no, Ireland is we don't have it and all that stuff. And you've got a lot of politicians who, even if they don't say openly that they would be willing to take the North, they feel it in their hearts. But this would be an actual, they're actually admitting to saying yes, no, only if the people of Northern Ireland say so. At this point, it starts to be very weird, because technically they're right. A Council of Ireland would reinforce partition, because the Council of Ireland would say, well, we are two different countries. But what is interesting about it is that it is far, far different to the opinions of the unionists. Now, what exactly happens when the executive takes power? Well, when the power sharing executive takes office on the 1st of January 1974, it looks promising, but unfortunately, there are forces against it. The meeting of the UUC appears. This is a turning point. Furthermore, there is a meeting of the Northern Ireland Assembly, and then in that assembly, it descends into chaos. The assembly is held on the 22nd of January 1974. It descends into chaos when Ian Paisley supporters disrupt the meeting and have to be forcibly removed from the chamber. One member of the Vanguard movement changed himself to one of the chairs, and 5 police officers are injured as they try to restore order. So, that's a bunch of stuff coming out that just we did. In the next episode, we'll be talking about things like the IRA's response, more in greater detail with the UEP, and a little bit of a shock for the Northern Irish people, thinking why exactly the British would introduce a particular kind of vote. All coming up in next week's episode, or not next week's episode, because it may not be next week, but next time anyway. So please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please do view other videos. It does help. I think people don't. Basically, if you look at the subscriber rate, basically then look at the view rate. The view rate is probably around average. I think these episodes, as far as it's probably around average. So basically, your view does count. Your view does help. So please do view other videos. It does help you.